morning, YouTube. Just a quick little video I wanted to share. A product that I'd found that surprisingly in today's market actually works. So this is a spray sealant leak repair made by Permatex. It's basically an aerosolized gasket maker, but the trick is it's designed to be applied externally, and it uses capillary action to wick itself into gaps around gaskets and metal parts and seal them up. Now there's some limitations. It is not for pressurized leaks. It's only for seeps, low pressure stuff, oil pans, return hoses, things like that, stuff that's not under pressure. But a lot of leaks on cars and bikes and older stuff are low pressure leaks, So in this case, this is a project bike I've been working on, and it's kind of a custom I built out of a very old 34-year-old Kawasaki KZ550 or GPZ 550. And it runs excellent, mechanically solid. I've done a lot of work cosmetically to it, but it just had this oil seep, and basically whenever the engine was hot, you shut it off and it would drop about a teaspoon to a tablespoon of oil on the ground. Never affected the way it ran. You'd never see it move in the sight glass and 10 drips. However, it did smoke as it burned off the exhaust, and it would piddle and puddle everywhere it went. So unfortunately, this one was leaking on the base gasket. So sorry for the movement. I'm going to grab a flashlight and show you. The base gasket on this bike between the block and the head is where it was leaking. And it was leaking pretty bad. It was always wet, running down the front, dripping on the exhaust, and then onto the ground. And unfortunately, to fix that, you got to pull the motor out of the bike. You got to pull, it's got overhead cams and chains, so all that would have to be, basically have to tear the engine apart almost completely. And like most bikes, this is an integral engine transmission, so you're talking about a nightmare of a job to replace a $10 gasket, which may or may not fix it, because remember, this is 34 years old. And, the block would have to be decked potentially, the head would have to be turned underneath, machined down to try to get it flat. And I've seen people do that, and it doesn't even stop leaking then. So I thought, what the hell, I'll take a chance on this stuff, because I don't want to tear apart an engine, especially one that runs perfectly well, just for kind of a nuisance leak. And unfortunately, if you try to sell something like this with a nuisance leak, even though it's 34 years old, a lot of people are turned off by that, So I figured I'll give it a shot. So the basic step is I wire brushed, knocked loose any loose material, rocks, grit, dirt, sand, whatever that got stuck in there. Cleaned it with brake cleaner, and you literally just spray this stuff on. And it says 3 to 5 coats, and in essence, just going in around, spraying it on the part that's leaking, and then let it tack up. It almost looks like contact cement when it comes out. But you can tell it's thinned with acetone and toluene and other stuff, so it'll wick, and capillary action will carry it into spots where there's voids. And I rode it hard, put it to bed hot yesterday, and it's been more than 24 hours and not a drop. So I looked out on the internet before I bought this stuff, and I couldn't find a single review, a video, nothing of anybody using this stuff and what success they had with it. So I'm not saying it'll fix anything, but for my sort of leak where it's low pressure, it's more of a seep, it's not in a super, super high temperature area. It does tell you that it's not for exhaust or head gaskets, which are obviously pressure and hot. So if you got a slow leak, especially on an old vintage bike or an oil pan or something like that, clean it real well, knock off any loose material, follow directions, and you might have the same success I did. It's been, like I said, 24 hours on a hot bike. I don't know how long it'll hold up in long term, but that's a pretty good result for, I think, the $8 I spent on this. So I just wanted to share that, since nobody else has seemed to review this stuff. And it worked for me, and it saved me the hassle of completely disassembling an otherwise perfectly good engine just to fix a nuisance leak. So hope you enjoyed it. Comment, like, subscribe. If you want to see more stuff like this, let me know.